Hi, I'm Lex and welcome to a different floor than the one you usually see me on. I'm actually downstairs today in the living room because I wanted to film a little get ready with me just to explore some new kind of content, see if that's maybe something I want to make in the new year and see how interesting it is to just sit here and chat and do my makeup. Now, I'll just talk you through what I'm using. It's a lot of my Project Pan items, so it would be nice to get used on that. I'm a little bit stuffy because my allergies are really playing up. I did just take an antihistamine, but it hasn't had time to kick in yet. Oh. I'm gonna be so sad. I have my hair cut tomorrow, and I'm going like shoulder length-ish, and all of this is going, and it's the biggest hair change I've ever had, really, so that'll be exciting and nerve-wracking, but I figured if I don't do it now, I'll never get around to it, so best to just like try it out now, and if I don't like it, at least it'll grow back. My hair's also super mega frizzy because I just washed it yesterday, so it's all like sticking up in the back for no reason. I'll probably actually like clip my hair up properly later because we're going out shopping, so that'll be a lot of moving around and doing stuff. To start off, I'm just going to sanitize my hands a little bit because even though I do wash my hands, you know, between washing my hands and actually sitting down to do this, I've probably touched about a million things, setting up my camera and then like touching my hair and all that, so hand sanitizer. I have a bunch of these really cute hand sanitizers that I bought in Home Bargains last year. I have two of these reindeer ones. I have a Santa and I have a gingerbread man. And because at work I've not just been, in one place the whole time. I've been like walking around, moving around, doing stuff. I've just been like putting them onto my jeans, like through the belt loops. And then I have like easy access to them and whatever, and everyone's been complimenting me on them, saying they're very Christmassy and very fun. I'm just doing a little bit of toner on a toner pad. I stuck a Dungeons and Dragons sticker on this because it was boring, and because I'm going to reuse it like a billion times over, because I'm using two toners from Jaya at the moment, and they're both spray toners. And I don't really spray toner on my face like that. I mainly like to use a cotton pad. These are reusable cotton rounds actually, because sustainability. And I've just been pouring the other toners into this little bottle because this little bottle is like a quarter of the big bottles, maybe? Like somewhere between a quarter and a third, I'd say. So it's nice to see some progress and feel accomplished when I finish up one of these, being like, that's gotten a good chunk of my toner done. I'm also just going to pour a little bit of it onto my face. I don't know if this is just going to be like the world's most awkward video, because I've never done my makeup on camera. I don't even know if it's particularly interesting for me to do my makeup on camera, but we'll see. Next up, I'm going in with this face primer from Barefaced Chic. And because it's so low now, I can't really squeeze it out onto my hand very easily. So I have just been squeezing it out directly onto my face, which isn't the most graceful way of applying primer, but it works. I also like bring all of my skincare and makeup down my neck a little bit. And I'm just going to use my fingers to really rub it all in. This primer's been really weird because it, I don't know, it's very mattifying, but it also just, the texture of it feels super, super dry, and I don't know how I feel about that really. I find it a little bit difficult to spread around my face, but it does keep things pretty matte for the most part throughout the day. Anyways, on top of that, I'm just going to go in with my SPF 50. This one isn't particularly nice, but that's why I only really use it when I'm powdering over the top of it. It's from GRWM, and I talked about this in my beauty project pan, but there's two sunscreens from GRWM that were in Home Bargains over the summer, and the one that came in a tube, like a squeezy tube, was amazing, incredible, one of the best sunscreens I've ever used in my life, right? And then this one, the one that comes in like this little packaging, was terrible and I hated it, and it is genuinely one of the greasiest sunscreens I've ever used in my life. And I find that really, really weird because they're from the same brand, so why is the formula so different? Anyways, I'm not forgetting my eyelids either, gotta put a little bit of sunscreen on those. Eyelids and lips, put sunscreen all over everything. I also heard that sunscreen should be your last skincare step, so that's always what I try and do. Like, don't put anything else over your sunscreen because it sort of makes it ineffective. I was gonna say I don't really need sunscreen because it's cloudy and drab outside, but honestly I feel like you just need sunscreen every day because even when it is cloudy, I know the UVA and UVB rays and stuff, they can still penetrate the clouds and stuff, so better to be safe than sorry and just sunscreen anyway. In this little pot I have my concealer from The Ordinary, and there is still quite a bit of this left. I had to depot the whole thing because I accidentally broke the packaging, and I think this is going to take me forever because I literally use the tiniest little dab of it just on my eyelids every day. And this is going to look a little bit crazy for a little while, but whatever. I use it as an eyelid primer and then just bring it up a little bit underneath the eyes. Because if I put a lot of it under there, then it looks really cakey and the wrong shade. Because I don't use foundation. It doesn't quite match my skin tone. It's a bit too light. Then I'm going in with my Modern Renaissance. And I'm just going to use a bit of Tempera, which I've repressed again. So it is nice and flat and covering the whole pan again, pretty much. But there isn't too much product left, I don't think, so maybe just a few more uses and it'll be out. But I'm just going to go over and powder that whole eye area, really. I am excited about my haircut tomorrow, but it was like really difficult to find inspo pics of what I wanted, because I don't want anything that's like a high maintenance hairstyle. That's one thing I realized when I got a fringe a while ago, got bangs a while ago, is that they were just way too much effort, and when I didn't style them they were like sticking up all over the place, so they looked crazy and I didn't vibe with that really. And I wasn't bothered trying to do my bangs every day. I also do all my makeup like in the world's weirdest order. Everything seems all out of order, so don't worry about it. I'm going in with my Sunshine Orange lip and cheek stain from The Body Shop. I managed to use up the other colour of this, or like get to 50 uses on the other color of this really, really easily, because they're both rolled into my 50 Shades of Black project pan. But this one has been so much more difficult to try and use, because it is a bright, bright, bright orange. And that doesn't show up in my camera at all, but in person, my cheeks are now orange. I'm also going to go in for the first time with this Glow Milk from the Beauty Crop. This is just a little mini one. But I go in with this twice, once underneath my powder and then once on top of all of my powder products. Because it gives a very nice effect that way, I think. I also think I pull the weirdest faces when I do my makeup, so wow, that is glowy. I do quite like it now that I know how to use it easily. I think it is a really nice color and I think it gives a really, really pretty glow. Then I'm just going to use a little bit of my Revolution Pro powder. This is the translucent setting powder. And this has been a really, really good powder actually. I have really enjoyed this and it is pretty cheap. And I'm just going to go in under my eyes with that. I typically save my fluffy brushes for blending out eyeshadows and things like that. So when I'm doing my lid setting shades or just like setting under my eyes with powder, I use this little like flat brush. It's not so flat anymore, it's pretty, but it's like just a little square flat brush. I also think I look so funny on camera when I've got like concealer all around my eyes. I think I look like I have such tiny little eyes. I don't actually really need to do any Christmas shopping because I've already done all of my Christmas shopping for everyone, pretty much. I bought presents for everybody in my family that I need to buy presents for, which isn't actually that many people. Back in my modern renaissance, I'm just going to go in with Venetian red. I've been really, really vibing with like these sort of reddish burgundy colours. I'm using up the shade Maraschino Cherry in my Pan That palette in order, and that is like a darker, less red toned, more plum toned version of Venetian red, and that has also been absolutely beautiful. And that's just meant that I'm wearing a lot of like red and burgundy type clothes. I'm just going in all over the crease, to be honest. I don't really care about the inner part of it, like the closest to my lid, because I'm just going to be putting glitter all over my lid anyway. So I only really care if the outside edges are blended out well. And that looks very dramatic. I'm going to try and not take too long on all this today because I am on a time crunch. One thing I will say about this palette is that it does lean surprisingly quite light, and there isn't a lot of good deepening out shades. So if I wanted to like deepen out any of those reds or like that orange, for example, there isn't really a good shade to do that. I'd have to like bring in a black or a darker color from another palette. When I was watching one of my fellow project panners on here the other day, Julie, and she'll be linked down below, but she was making a Thanksgiving video based around all of the sort of Project Panas that she's been watching and that have inspired her, and people that she's been following along with and enjoying their content, you know. And she gave me a little shout out, and that was the cutest thing ever. That made me really, really happy. I'm glad that, you know, people are out there watching my content and enjoying it. I think that's always the really fun part of this community, is that everyone follows along with a ton of like little channels and things, and everyone's able to really, really support each other. Because I've really enjoyed watching Julie's videos as well, and it's really fun to see like people I recognize in like the comments, not even of like my own videos, but like going into other people's videos and like scrolling through the comments and being like, I know that person, I follow that person, I watch their content. That's always really, really fun. I'm just going in with like a little tiny brush and putting a little bit of extra colour just directly in the crease and on my lower lash line. I find with reds you have to go in really, really hardcore, like way more red than you think you need. Otherwise, if it's just a soft wash of red, then you look a little bit ill. Or at least I do anyway. Then I am going to go in with my 24 karat gold rush palette from W7. And I'm just going to go in with the shade Good As, that's this one here. I'm going to use my finger and just put it all over my lid because this is a pretty smushy shade. And smushy shades apply best with your finger. I've really been enjoying doing this look because it's a really, really quick look, but it looks like super effective and like you've put a lot of effort into your eyeshadow, when in reality it's 2 colours and about 5 minutes of your time. But I only do this with like pretty punchy, glittery shadows. And that looks good to me. Sometimes I go in with a black pencil liner around my whole waterline, or with I do a wing with a liquid liner. But to be honest, I'm not really feeling it today. So I'm probably just going to leave it at that and just put a ton of mascara on. Time to finish up the rest of the face. I'm going to just go in with more of this powder. I took this sifter out because I get to a point where I get really annoyed trying to get powder out with like the sifter in, so I just take the sifter out and just stick my brush right in the middle of all the powder. And then I just like tap it out into the lid so I'm not getting like tons of powder at a time. And that works out best for me. I have been thinking a lot about my panning goals for the new year and what I want to do. And I think that obviously I'll be doing my Pan That palette. And that'll be a really interesting new thing for me to try because I've never done a Pan That palette before. I've seen other people do them though, and I'm really excited. And I think picking a relatively neutral palette will mean that I can get a lot of use on it in conjunction with other things, so I'm not getting bored of it at all. And I also think that I will be changing up my D100 project pan because as nice as it is to get like, I don't know, 50, 90 uses on a product, it's also a little bit hard for me when I feel like I've reached a really big milestone, like hitting pan, but I'm not done with the product yet. Like I still have to keep going until I get to my usage goal. So even though it's really good for getting to know my collection and really getting to know my products, it's not so good for my sort of sense of accomplishment. Although, this year has been such a good year for panning. Like, it's been my first proper panning year, and I feel like I've made a ton of progress, and I am really proud of all of it. I've hit pan in tons of eyeshadows, and I've hit pan and used up face products, which is just crazy to me. I've never done that before. And it's nice to just be aware of your collection and know everything that you have and how it performs and whether you like it or not. I'm just going in with my little bronzer here. This is repressed from my Second Glance palette. The bottom 3 shades were all bronzers that I mixed together and repressed, but I also just repressed a little bit of it into here. Because I think this is such a good pan size for face products. It gets, like, dropped on the floor. It gets enough product where you feel accomplished that you've, like, finished it, but it's also quite easy to see, like, hit and pan or, like, finishing it up. It doesn't take a billion uses. So I think if I just repress bits of face product into these pans, like, that wouldn't be the worst plan in the world either. This is more of my, like, cool toned, I guess, like, contour shade. But I use contour and bronzer interchangeably in the same way, like in the same areas of my face, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. I recently saw on Crunchyroll that they had their Black Friday deals, and they had a really good deal for like a year-long subscription. So I decided to get it because I do enjoy watching anime, and I have quite a few that I want to watch, but I was thinking of maybe reaching out for some recommendations. And I don't know how much overlap there is between the padding community and the anime community, but maybe some of you are interested in anime, and if you are and you have any recommendations, then feel free to throw them my way. I do watch a little bit of everything, to be honest, so I'm not picky. I recently watched My Dress Up Darling, which is about a boy who makes Hina dolls that are like these beautiful Japanese decorative dolls, and he ends up becoming friends with this girl who's really into cosplay, and she wants him to make her outfits for her. And so he gets really into that, into making loads of different outfits for her to cosplay. And there is a little bit of like fan servicey stuff which I don't love, but the overall story and like the characters are so fun, and I think they really nailed that sort of like I'm a teenager and I'm stressed about everything kind of like vibe, because their inner monologues are so accurate to like how every teenager is overthinking everything like all the time. I'm just going in with this cool toned blush from my Z palette that I depotted a while ago, because I think it neutralizes that orange blush a bit and makes everything a little bit more peachy rather than straight orange. I got this tip actually from someone in my comments to use a liquid or cream blush and then put powder over the top of it. And that's actually not a bad idea, because it does make them easier to wear. I just think that they said it makes it last longer. And maybe it does for some people, but that isn't really a problem I've ever come across. Like, I don't think I've ever like come home after a day of work and thought to myself, wow, like I really wish my blush had had more staying power. Like, that's not a problem I've experienced. And I don't like set my face or anything, but I just think I don't really touch my face throughout the day or anything, so it doesn't rub off my blush or any of my face products. I'm going to go back in with this highlight and just dab a little bit of it over the top of all of my powders. And this has also been a surprisingly good trick, because it doesn't move anything around very much, like I thought it would. if I'm gentle and I just like rub little circles of highlight in, then it distributes it pretty well. Yeah. I have been watching a lot of YouTube though. I've been watching a lot of Project Panning. I've been watching a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's stuff now that the second movie is coming out soon, because the first one was genuinely so fun and I enjoy it so much. I really like certain spaces in the Five Nights at Freddy's communities, like the theorizing spaces. They're very interesting to me, how people can spend so much time analyzing things and trying to put a story together, and it's really, really fun. Um, I don't think I could ever do it. I don't think I have the tenacity to stick with something and try and remember so many small details, because I tend to just like watch about 50 videos on something I enjoy, and whatever I get from that, that's what I get from it. So it's not necessarily always super duper accurate. I'm not remembering every tiny detail of everything. But yeah, I really enjoy being parts of communities that feel really collaborative. Like, the panning community is great because everyone's constantly in each other's comments, supporting each other. A lot of people are like, you know, friends, DMing on Instagram, you know, things like that. And uh, there's like the Facebook group, the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group, that I know has a ton of collaboration with like trying to work out different projects and things like that. And I just find that really fun and inspiring. And I think my one goal is to definitely get to know people a little bit better in the panning community and make a few closer friends in the panning community, maybe. Um, because let's be real, people in my real life, my day-to-day life, aren't super mega interested in makeup. And even if they are, it's not to the point of like, oh my god, I hit pan on a bronzer, isn't that exciting? It's more just like general, like, oh, that's a really pretty eyeshadow look or something. And my boyfriend, bless him, he's really supportive. He does, you know, cheer me on when I'm hitting pan on things and reaching my goals on things, but he doesn't wear makeup or anything, so it's not exactly like a hobby we can share. I'm also going to go into this highlighter with a tiny, tiny brush to use it as an inner corner highlight. I think the rest of my plan for today is to have some breakfast and pick up my boyfriend from work and go shopping. Christmas shopping. I really, really want to go to TK Maxx because that is one of my favourite shops in the whole world. You never know what you're going to find, and I always get really, really stuck in the food section and the stationery section and the clearance beauty section. I basically have to go around the whole shop to feel satisfied and like I've actually had a look at everything and see if there's anything I want. I have to stay strong though and not buy any more makeup because I have way too much, and I think it would take me about 1 billion years to get through what I have already. This lip gloss smells super nice, but I'm really annoyed that the sticker is peeling off it, like the label. This is the Sarah Miller Passion Flower and Green Tea lip gloss, and it really does smell like green tea. It is super, super nice. There we are, I've just put some mascara and some lip gloss on, and this is the finished look. Let me know what you thought of this type of content and whether you'd be interested in watching it again. I think I'd probably have to work on my setup a little bit. I don't know if this is a little bit too bright. Wow. Well, you can see things a little bit better than no light, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you thought of the video, and I will see you all in my next one. So, bye. Thanks for being here with me and experimenting with videos for next year. We'll see how it goes. I'll see you all next time. Bye.